The Raptors win an important one over the Chicago Bulls, 104-98. Live from Real Sports. Welcome to Raptors Tonight. I'm Randy Urban, joined by Leo Rautins, Jack Armstrong, and Paul Jones. Let's get right into it, fellas. Tight game for three quarters there. You liked it.
And I'll say this, and I said this on our radio broadcast. It's not sexy. It's not 176-175 Sacramento over Clippers in double overtime with everybody scoring where you want to stop somebody and say, is this going out of style? Is that why you're scoring? Like, no. This is the basketball that we grew up on. Leo, Jack, myself.
I think winning's kind of sexy.
Well, yeah, it is. But just,
I saw a few of those games too.
The mid-'80s, Jacko, that Leo, where like going down the stretch, when you scored a bucket, it was like a goal in soccer.
Yeah.
Like it was huge because of
you worked
how
for
you
it.
had. Yeah, you worked for it. And then at the other end, I don't know if you guys saw it. There was one point when the Raptors scored and Chicago's walking it up, and Fred turned his back to the Chicago team walking the ball up and looked at all his guys, and like all that was missing was Duke slapping the floor. Like it was, come on now, we got that score. Let's get this stopped. Like we can throw a shovel of dirt on them if we get us. Like that's the stuff that was triggered in me today, watching the way this game was grinding, and it was one of those old school throwback games for me.
Yeah.
Well, you know, good teams find a variety of ways to win, you know, and it's not going to be the same script every night. Now, part of the script was classic Raptors. You know, they won the turnover margin and took more shots, so that's part of it. But there were other times, Leo, I thought they were just super gritty. And I think, you know, I think Jakob Poeltl brings a toughness and a grittiness and a blue-collar nature to this team that I think it was lacking a little bit. I think this team at times played a little soft, and now you add him, and I think it just energizes other guys. I thought Thad Young gave him some good hard-nosed minutes tonight off the bench.
The dynamics are changing, right, of this team.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, Jakob has made an immediate impact. When he's on the floor, they're just better. This is a better team. And that is going to have a residual effect on everybody else, right? Now your bench is better because your bench has changed.
Right.
And adding a Will Barton as well is going to pay dividends as you keep going here. But if you think about it, in relation to the NBA and media and all that, those are two under-the-radar moves that are going to pay off, in my opinion, big dividends for this team coming down the stretch. You know, Barton and Jakob Poeltl are going to give this team an awful lot coming down.
You know, it's interesting to Leo's point. I think too often people analyze, you know, if you read articles in all 30 markets or on a national perspective in Canada or a national perspective in the United States, a lot of times the viewpoint strictly comes from the analytical data and sample size and this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, good teams aren't on paper. They don't exist on paper. Mm-hmm. They exist in flesh and in real life. And to Leo's point, you add people, and they're not sexy names, but I think it can change the fabric of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And they both fill a need. And to me, I'm not into the sample. This is not trigonometry and chemistry.
No.
It is chemistry, but it's a different kind of chemistry. But it's not trigonometry or algebra and geometry or calculus. It's real life stuff. And tonight, when the chips were down, I saw sacrifice, I saw toughness, I saw the ball not sticking, I saw the ball move, I saw them play as a team. And they can beat anybody they're going to play in the last 19 games of the year if they play together.
Here's my thing, Jack. To your point, you can't quantify effort. You can't, like Scotty Barnes made a block that it sent the arena into a tizzy. It gave his team energy. There's no number you can put on that. That's like
it's just one block in a game, but the impact of that is
it's like a dunk. Same
concentration.
Thing.
And you know why he got that block? Because the guy who was guarding the ball was engaged. And the offensive player now is trying to maneuver around the first guy. They always say first guy engages, second guy off the floor gets the block.
Well, DeRozan did a good job splitting that D, and then Scotty doesn't give up on that play, which is, another effort thing. Do you have a 1990s Jonesy stat of the night then?
Field goal attempts,
Field goal attempts?
turn them over. Raptors 20 turnovers, 21 points.
Yeah.
They got 23 more shots than Chicago.
Yeah.
They shot 40% and won the game because they got.
Is that something that you can sustain the rest of the way?
Why not?
They have all year.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at where they rank in terms of field goal attempts per game, and the opponent, on average, they're getting 12 to 13 more shots a game. I mean, even if you're a lousy shooting team and you make 4 of 12, 33%, a couple of those are threes, that's 10 points.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you pick up Will Barton. You know, the guy, all 8 years in Denver, scored double digits. 7 of the last 8 years, he shot north of 35%. He averaged 14 points a game in Denver. Those are numbers. Yeah, those are numbers, obviously. But I think there's a need there. We could all see it. That there's a reason. There's a reason why they have to play the way they play. Because there are times they don't have enough firepower, or they don't have enough shooting. And now if they can keep scuffling like they're scuffling, and they add another piece, and now everyone can move down a peg, and you have a little more firepower, maybe you don't have as many droughts, maybe you score a little easier, maybe you're able to function a little bit better. And to me, that comes down to all the other ingredients of team play that absolutely have to happen. And I think the light's coming on.
Yeah.
It's not all there yet, but the light's coming on.
So Leo, 28 assists. This is sort of the blueprint that makes them successful. Fred VanVleet, obviously a big reason why they
9 assists, no turnovers.
Yeah.
He struggled shooting.
It's okay. He helped
Again,
win.
you missed 3 games, right? You're going to struggle shooting.
Make winning
Your rhythm-
plays.
3 games plus 2 weeks. Didn't
Right.
play, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So
Make winning plays, right?
Yeah, make winning plays, and don't let that affect how you're playing the game. He banged out in defense. He moved the basketball. He still took the shots he was supposed to take.
Right.
How
Don't
many
turn them
times?
down.
How many times have we seen over the history of the Raptors? You have a guy that's supposed to be a shooter. He misses some shots. Ball comes to him. He won't take that shot. If you don't take that shot, you don't get that
everybody off.
rebound. You don't get that move. You don't.
messes up the
it messes
offense.
up everything.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Between the three of us, we have 10 kids. And I think Fred VanVleet would be the happiest guy to get to Washington to get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
So don't discount that as well.
There you go.
But, you add a third child, now you're playing zone instead of man-to-man, okay? And you're tired. And so for me tonight, his first game back, sometimes you don't have your A game, but you find a way to. You have a child
No,
we
I'm
haven't
just
heard
doing the
about
math.
yet?
I just
Three,
3.
four.
Okay, 10. All right, making sure that everybody's clear at home,
Well, you don't have any. Well, at least none that you know of, right?
which is just as good.
We got a starting 5 and 4 off the bench
yeah,
between the three of us.
All right, we got a question off the bench coming in. Remy, come on. Remy's chatting it up over there. I see you, Remy.
He's working the room.
This guy Remy's like very
A young,
personal.
get out of here. Yeah, young Leo Rautins over
You're gonna
there.
start working the room over there.
I know.
I see you.
Okay, what do we got?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. Remy Oger from Toronto, Ultimate Frisbee player, but here we are. So my question, you guys already talked about Barton, but I wanted to talk about, I guess I'm going to move on from that and see, what is your favorite part, now that we got Freddie back off of being off for a couple of games, about his chemistry with Pirtle? What are we feeling? How do we feel about that?
Oh, wow. Good. That's a good question. I think the fact that they played together before, the timing on the roll, the read, the moment of decision, holding the bounce, one more bounce, when to roll, it's kind of innate sixth sense that the two
They
of them
broke
have.
into the league together.
Right.
They won a G League championship
Championship
together.
There's a high level of intellectual
Yeah.
recognition of what's going on around them, that they're really, and I think I see Pascal Siakam too. Again, it's not only familiarity, it's like, hey man, this guy's a ball player, I'm a ball player, I like playing. And Scotty Barnes, I can tell he loves playing with Pirtle, because Scotty's a very bright guy, and he's like, hey man, this guy is
If you like
a high
playing, you
intellect guy.
cannot not like playing with Pirtle.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, the dude just does everything right. I mean, when he's on the floor, they're just a better team, period. Simple as that. It's fun to watch.
It is. It's a great rebounder too. You know, he's not one of these high-flying rim protectors. he does it like Marc Gasol. He'll block the odd shot, but he does it on the ground too. He'll take charges. He's in position. Guys are driving in. It's like, oh boy, like I got to change my shot because my angle is gone, right? I've got to try to drift, turn my body, not take a charge. And that's rim protection because now the guy changes his shot.
You know what I love too? He's on you. He changes you. Then the ball moves. He slides over to you, and he comes back to this guy. He's just nonstop. He's just going.
And he's got great feet.
Yeah.
And great feet and hands.
I joke about, like Twinkle Toes Flintstone. I mean, he's got the.
Google it, you youngsters.
I'm telling you, he is so nimble in short spaces, and that's a guy. How old is he? 7'1"?
7 feet.
I mean, I don't know if he took ballerina or ballet as a kid.
I'll bet you
he looks
played
like
soccer.
He's
I'll
got
bet
great.
you he I haven't
he's got
asked him.
great feet.
I haven't asked him.
Great
and
feet.
All European kids play
the
soccer.
first game every kid should play for footwork is soccer.
Well, you look at Hakeem, right? You look
Kobe,
at
Nash.
Kobe. Look at Pascal Siakam.
Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
All these guys, they start playing soccer and their low post game
the
is
most
better.
embarrassing thing is when you're American, Canadian, whatever you want to call it, and you go play in Europe, and they always play soccer for fun.
Yep.
And you're playing with the basketball players that all grew up playing soccer. You're going, okay, I'll just be goalie. They're amazing. I'll just be goalie.
It's a whole different game.
Whole different game. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, Remy.
Thanks, Remy.
Awesome.
Thank you, Remy.
Appreciate it.
Because you asked the question, you get to take a shot on the net,
Okay.
and you get to.
You can't be any worse than Randy.
It goes on
Yeah,
Randy.
yeah.
Our appetizers.
Remy, it goes on Randy's tab.
Okay. It doesn't
Goes
look
on.
regulation, but I'll try.
No.
Let me see your form first. Let's see what it's going to look
Okay.
like. Just before I grant you the basket. Let's say, okay, I'll give it to you. See,
Gotta lock that elbow in a little bit.
You know what? There was a kid on Keel Street named Leo Rautins. He used to go to the park. They used to ask him if he wanted to play, and he'd shoot with his left hand, and he looked terrible.
Come on up.
The game would start, he'd be killing people,
That's
winning
right.
money. It's like, wait a minute, I just got hustled here.
It's like the Uncle
Back to the right hand.
Remy Martin, let's go right here.
Slide?
Yeah, at the line. You get 3 chances to get it in. Here we go. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Remy, that's soft as funeral music.
You set us up. You set us up.
Randy's gonna buy you a bottle of Louis XIII. It's only worth about
Thanks, man.
$800
Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Google Louis XIII. You'll know what I mean. It's pretty expensive.
So I can handle that?
No, you can't
All right,
actually.
now, obviously.
Wait till you see how much it costs.
Yeah. All right. We all like Gary Trent Jr. coming off the bench then?
I like his attitude after a really tough night in Cleveland. He was like, okay, wash it off, let's get going. Because I'm a good shooter, I missed a whole bunch. Tonight I'm gonna make a whole bunch. It's gonna even out. And we talked to him post-game on the radio, and he said, hey man, I just work at my craft, just get it done.
That's being a pro, man.
It is, he's a good young
He
professional.
knows what's going to make him successful in this league.
You know what makes you successful? Win. You come off, if the Raptors make a run, if the Raptors get in the playoffs, the Raptors do what we think they can do, he's coming off the bench putting up numbers, whole league's watching.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching.
Yeah.
And I don't, I get this whole starting, whatever, but if you're a pro, you take your job, whatever it is, off the bench, you look at the Raptors bench right now. Look at how the dynamics have changed to that bench.
Yes.
It's like it's no longer Nick's got to run everybody in the ground. You can go to guys, and you can go to guys in different situations.
And you know what? You can become a better defensive team.
Oh,
now,
hell
because
yeah.
you say, hey man, you took a play off on defense. I've cut your minutes back. Get in your stance. Do the best you can, keeping that guy in front of you. I want multiple effort. I want you all over the place, flying around. I want your hands active. I want you helping, recovering, rotating, communicating. There's no excuses.
Yeah.
And you know what? For this group, they add Pirtle, and now they add Will Barton. Guess what, guys? The front office is showing some confidence in you. A lot of people thought the Raptors were going to be sellers. They actually have added rather than subtracted. So guess what? You know what? That's showing confidence and belief. Now you got to show that you're worth it.
Okay. Historically, watching Masai and Bobby Webster operate, they look at this group, they believe in this group, but they struggled. What do they need? You had a big, bring in a Barton, and now they'll watch. They'll evaluate. They've always done this. This is the
Always.
way they do it.
Always.
There's no knee-jerk reaction. There's no, I'm going to get rid of this guy, because Masai said it himself. There's nothing I could have done now I can't do in the summer.
And he's a summer guy.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's gone from the house in the summer. Let's fix it then. And if we need to tweak it during the season, add a player.
And he made a great point too, Jonesy. Everybody talks about this deadline. This deadline is made for TV.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything by a deadline. Yeah. You can do it before, and you can do it in the summer. But everybody, like, it's like, I got to do something. It's trade deadline. Fans get in it.
Smoke and mirrors a lot of times, yeah.
Woj is in it, the whole bit. You don't have to do anything
I love
for that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other, when you look at Masai, I think one of his greatest traits as an executive, a leader, is in a world that is very knee-jerk and reactionary.
He's not.
And he's not. He's very calm, very calculated, and lets things marinate, lets things breathe. I don't want to play poker against him. I don't want to play chess against him, because you can't read him. And that's a good thing. And that's an important quality. Now look, is he emotional? Can he get very fiery? Absolutely. But it's a slow simmer, and
Don't let that emotion make you make a wrong decision.
yeah, and to me, I was asked on a radio show recently, about evaluating this season. I said, no, it's really an evaluation of last season, 48 wins, you're losing 6 to Philly, and now maybe the expectations coming into the season were maybe a little too high, based upon the fact that other teams in the league, and particularly in the conference, got a little better, and they decided to allow the internal here, and the one guy you brought in got hurt in terms of Otto Porter.
Yeah.
So now I think this is a 2-year evaluation.
Yeah.
I think after this season is done and the play-in, playoffs, whatever it may be, they'll have a relatively good picture of what they like and what they don't like.
Yeah, yeah. Did you like the defense on Levine and DeRozan?
They made them work.
Yeah.
Like DeRozan, I believe, only had like 11 or 12 13 shot attempts.
Points.
Like 13 points, but like they made him work. They made him work. They ran at him. They got the ball out of his hands.
If you can contain both of those guys,
That's a big night.
okay, containing one is good.
Yeah.
You contain both, it's great.
They held them under 19 points under their combined average. That's amazing.
That's great. Yeah, that's how you're going to win games. We got one more question for the audience. Sam, come on in, bud. Got Sam in the audience hanging out.
So nobody's dialing in questions anymore. Is this Sam?
Yeah.
Sam,
Sam, how are you?
Here's your mic.
Good. How you guys doing?
Sam?
Jack, Leo, Paul.
What do you got, Sam?
Nice to meet you guys. Here's my question for you. Great game tonight, great win. Moving forward, what are some keys to have a successful road trip for the next five games?
Successful road trip.
Yeah.
Great question. You're welcome.
Wow.
Are you stumped, Jack?
Stumped.
No, I'm thinking-
First time, huh?
I'd
Okay,
like to
do
say-
not lose in Washington. You got to win
There
those
you go.
two.
I would like to say, come out above the watermark.
3-2.
Which means you got to win those two in Washington.
Right.
And then if you get 500 on the other ones, you're doing pretty. I think you're okay.
They're a game under 500 now. You've got to go one game above 500 on this road trip to get to the waterline. Like once you get to the waterline, now you can start looking at those teams in front of you. All the fans are talking about, oh, we can get 6, you can't get to 6 until you get to 8 and 7. And right now they're sitting in 9. And they've crept one closer to the waterline today.
But you look at what are the most winnable games you're going to play, the next two.
Well, I'll say this. You got 19 left. I thought last year's team had grit and toughness and guarded better than this team has. This team's starting to come to life now. And because you're on the road for 5 games, your offense a lot of times doesn't travel. You're going to have 5-minute stretches, a quarter, where you're just not good.
Yeah.
But instead of being down 11, if you're down 6 and you're got a puncher's chance, I think that's really important. So your defense has got to travel these next 5 games. Your D's got to be really good. You got to hang around, and be in a position late in games to steal games. And I think adding Will Barton, I'm curious on this road trip now with 5 games to see how they incorporate him. And I'm not saying he's Lou Williams, but I think for this team, he can maybe give them a little something that they got from a Lou Williams, where he can come in and maybe in Denver or against the Lakers have a big last 6 minutes of the second quarter where now you're down 2 and suddenly you're up 5 at half.
You don't think he's going to be gassed up for these 2 games in Washington?
Yeah.
And Denver.
Yeah, and Denver.
Both his ex-teams.
Yeah, both
There you
his
go.
former teams.
Yeah,
Like,
3
he
ex-teams
will be
coming
gassed
up.
up.
Yeah. So does your jump shot travel?
We'll
Because
see.
we want to see
I guess we'll
if
find
you can
out.
if you can make it. You got to go to the line here.
It's on Randy, Sam.
Yeah, you know, it's
I like the stash, by the way. You got the stash going.
Looking good.
Randy,
Firefighter in training right
firefighter,
there.
real. Randy's trying to grow his stash, but you know.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you, brother. Here we go. Step to the line. Just dunk it. Oh, all right. You get a couple more. We got to get rebounders. We haven't hired rebounders yet. Here we go.
Oh,
Great,
one more.
Sam, one more, buddy.
Come on, every firehouse has a basket. Come on.
Just dunk it. Oh!
And where
Sam,
are you
don't
trying
worry.
to? Where are you trying to be a fireman, by the way?
getting
In
trained
Toronto,
for me.
hopefully. I'm still training right
In
now.
Toronto.
Just started training.
And look, I got a lot of. I'm an Irish Catholic from Brooklyn. A lot of my buddies are firemen and
Yeah.
cops. You know.
Yeah.
I've never met a fireman, an unhappy fireman. It's
That's
like
good
being
to
on a
hear.
team. You're in your 50s, and it's like you're still on a team. You have a great time, and it's a great life. So I hope it works out.
Thank you so
This
much.
guy's going to be a great
All right,
fireman.
Sam.
Appreciate you, Sam.
Thanks, man. All right. Feel good? Are you excited for the
Hey,
road trip?
can I see that thing? Can I see that
And
thing?
Leo still has
There
it.
we go.
Come on, Jake, get moving here.
Leo said
You
I
know,
couldn't
Jake,
shoot.
by the
I
way,
made-
is resigned as a working stiff. Now he's an executive producer. We got more people scamming.
Oh, jeez, Leo.
Whoa.
See, Sam?
Whoa, hey.
Hey,
Got
hey.
hecklers.
Somebody close
got
the door. There was a
hecklers.
breeze behind me. Yeah.
You realize that
Close that
guy?
back door.
You realize that guy was a first-round pick in the NBA?
Yeah, leave him alone.
None of you
over there.
clowns that whoever were.
Foul. I got fouled. This one's going in.
Jack's calling out the
Hey,
crowd.
guaranteed.
Well, as I should. The guy.
Hey, we got another one. I got one more for you.
All right, all right.
That's a quick rebound. Double machine. You know what? You should just give up.
Done. It's over.
You should just. You're clowning
That
me
basket.
for this.
You were a
that's
passer,
not-
though.
That's
You
not.
were a great
You know,
passer.
this is
yeah.
like this is like going to the CNE.
Carnival.
Yeah, that ball's overinflated and that rim's too tight. I'm saying it right now.
Overinflated. Is this like
Overinflated.
Deflate Gate with the Patriots?
One more question. We're going to go overtime. Damian
Oh, my
Lillard, 71
goodness.
points. This guy, Jack's done. 71
I'm not
points
done.
in 39 minutes. What do you make of this, Paul Jones?
That the league is
No, it's a great effort.
the league is more skilled
Yes.
than it's ever been.
Yes.
Aided by the rules. I never thought I'd see, like we were there for Kobe's 81-point game. I never thought I'd see that again. A guy like Lillard, a guy like Steph Curry, a guy like Klay Thompson,
Oldest player to do it.
they
32
catch
years
fire,
old.
it could be
Donovan
trouble.
Mitchell, all these guys.
Like, we've had 2 71-point games this year.
Yeah.
You know, these guys, though, and Leo's boys, obviously, Andy and Sammy, played and were very good players. Sammy's still playing. And Leo's the last one of the 3 of us that coached. But Leo, I tell you what, these guys are all being taught and coached and drilled up the yin-yang from a skill perspective that kids in Europe used to be.
Yeah.
Now in North America, these guys are, and we had this discussion a few weeks ago. I think these guys are amazing. Now,
Skill
are the
level is
rules different?
incredible.
But you watch an
but-
NFL game,
but-
the NFL game's different.
But to Jonesy's point, the skills are off the charts. Like everybody's got a handle. Everybody's got this. Everybody's got that. Shooting can still get better, but like overall. But the rules benefit you. The rules open up the floor for
Totally.
you. The rules so you should translate into the numbers we're kind of seeing, right?
But we should give.
But to
Nobody's
their
hanging
credit,
on
it
you,
is.
kicking you, holding
No, it's
you.
like I'm reading a great book right now of talking about the ingredients of a Super Bowl winner, and it goes through different great teams from every era. And, you talk about a Joe Montana, who is Tom Brady's idol, growing up in the Bay Area, to now Tom Brady. And, what is the difference? I mean, they're both elite. In any era, they'd be great. But for a guy like Brady, the rules are different in terms of what you could do to a receiver at the line. And it's the same thing in basketball. You think Jerry Colangelo was forcing these rules changes out of the goodness of his heart to just help the league? I think overwhelmingly he was, but he also had Steve Nash, and he knew that if you couldn't touch him and couldn't breathe on him, he was that much better.
Yeah.
So there was some self-interest there too. And but these guys, in the style of play that is being played now, they're amazing.
I would say, Jack, to that, and Leo, you've talked about too, the era, the style of play in this era. We're all excited to see Victor Wembanyama. Last night I watched the first part of the Bill Russell documentary on Netflix, and they had old black and white video of Wilt. And if you colorize that and looked at it, you say, wow, that's Victor. Long, skinny, handled the ball. Wilt was a track athlete.
Yeah.
He played for the
He was a freak.
Globetrotters.
He was an athletic freak.
He was a freak. But he was in an era where, no, you can't dribble it. Get inside. The era with the skills and the rules is allowing the guys to show their full talent.
Hey, even in my era, you had great Larry Bird, you had Reggie, all these great shooters. No, you only take 2 or 3 a game.
Right.
It's a different mentality.
So
right?
the highest scoring game ever, 186, 184, Denver, Detroit. There were 5 3-point shots made in the whole game. 5.
How fast a game is that?
Oh,
Well, I will say, I know it's
Fat
the style
leader.
of the game, but Lillard has 6 50-point games since turning 30, which is tied for second most in NBA history, trailing only Wilt Chamberlain, who has 7. So that's incredible company to be a part of.
Yeah.
It is the game, but Lillard is putting in the work.
He's
talent.
I have some friends that have been on the Portland staff, and I've talked a lot with them about Damian Lillard, the makeup and all that. I mean, he doesn't come from a big
He's different.
school.
No.
He's different.
Weber State, if I'm not.
Ogden, Utah.
And he comes from Oakland, and he's just a gym rat. He has a love affair with the game, and he's in there working his tail off. So I love watching him play because I'm like, this kid loves basketball. He loves getting better. He loves hooping.
And I'll tell you, when in our conversation, when I talk about the rules are different, the game has changed, and it's more conducive to that, that's not taken away from Lillard.
No.
I don't mean to take away from a guy, because this guy works at his craft. He's a pro. He wants to stay with the same team and
Which is
win
great.
there,
Yep.
which in this generation is unique of itself. So he can't do anything about the rules and the way it is. All he can do is play within them.
Yeah.
And he does that. Amazingly.
He's a great teammate, Jack, because I've talked to people in Portland too. He signed a guy to a 10-day once, and the staff went looking for him the next morning to give him breakfast and take him to the practice facility. They couldn't find the guy. They get a phone call a little while later from Damian Lillard. He goes, he slept at my place last night. No teammate of mine, even the 10-day guy, is going to sleep in a hotel when I got a house here. That's the kind of guy he is.
There was a guy
In Toronto here, when they played in Toronto, a kid broke through the security and was walking along the baseline toward the VOM, and Damian came out, saw some people, and was walking back to the bus. And the kid said, he goes, Dame Dollar. He goes, Dame. He goes, my name's Damian too. He stopped, turned around. Security was like, no, to the kid, no, you got to go. And he's like, no, let the kid through. That's the kind of guy he is.
Well, you talk about him. You triggered something I heard a number of years ago. Chuck Swirsky, who used to work with the Raptors, who was here tonight with the Bulls, it's just coincidence. And Chuck's son, TC, used to work. He's coaching right now in the G League, but TC used to work for the Portland Trailblazers for many years. TC would be the guy with the keys to the gym. He would be with Damian day and night, working out, shooting with him, rebounding for him. And right before U.S. Thanksgiving, Damian Lillard, they're in the gym, and he says, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? He goes, I'm here in Portland by myself. I have no family. Because you're at my house for Thanksgiving, you're family to me. So forget basketball. there's something special about that young man as well. And not only have I heard that from Chuck, but I've heard that from a number of my coaching friends in Portland. They're just like, hey, man, this guy's the real deal.
Yeah. You guys are all family to me, but I got to stop it there.
I remember
game,
Thanksgiving, I was all by myself here,
Raptors.
and Randy said, "That's tough for you, buddy. That's tough for you."
You know,
The Raptors.
you know what
Might
they
have been
say
with his
about
kids.
you know what they say about Randy? One dog, one bone.
I don't think I've ever heard that, but I appreciate it.
This is
No, I don't think you should appreciate that.
I know.
Hey, the beard's looking good.
Yeah, it's nice. Next game for the Raptors,
Coming
Thursday
in a little
in
gray,
Washington.
by the way. There's a
It's
little gray
not
on the
gray.
side now.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice
Snow
that.
coming in there, Leo.
notice that.
Distinguished. Distinguished.
Snow.
Notice that.
We love you. We love them. We love
Are you
Thursday.
coloring the beard? Or is
I'm
it
not
natural?
coloring the beard. This is perfect. Thursday,
Honest,
7
snow
p.m.
coming
in Washington.
I'm not
against the
coloring the
Wizards.
beard either.
Tip-off goes at 7 p.m. Well, you can catch this
night.
show on NBA TV
Good
Canada
night.
Raptors YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Can I get some more coffee?